let's now talk about, because I think one of the biggest challenges faced by the youth is unemployment.
Yeah.
The high rates of unemployment.
Yeah.
I'm of the view that as Africans, we will not succeed economically if we don't answer to the issue of our culture and our spirituality at the center of what we do.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
then when we go back to our culture and then we're able to work together, we're able to put our heads together to look at our challenges.
Yeah.
What are your views in that?
Oh, for one, leaders who stay too much in power become very toxic for the country. So the issue of unemployment politically, no matter how many political parties they can change, the system remains the same. So if the system has never been directed or meant to uplift and improve the lives of people that actually want to work and be part of the working space or working machinery, if that was answered from the beginning, then we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yes.
So one political party blames the other party. You find that at some point these people were all together and they were singing the same tune. But now what they
And
do,
they drink whiskey
they
together
drink whiskey and cognac and
Yes.
go on holidays and game range
and share business
and
opportunities
share business opportunities
from their funders.
Yes, and
Yes.
it's very sad that you find PhD students, someone or a PhD graduate who's sitting at home in the village, trying to going on vlogs or trying to gain traction in terms of finding other means of income
Surviving, yes.
and survival, because even with the grant system, the SRD 350 is really not enough. It's quite laughable. How do you expect people to survive with 350 when they are unemployed?
Yes.
With that 350, there was a claim that use the 350 to go and
Start a business.
or fix your CV and apply for jobs. But there is, at the other end, there is no guarantee that there are jobs. There are not enough jobs in government, in the private sector, and so on. So, young people opt to start their own form of self-employment. I know of this one boy from Soweto. He started a candle making,
Yes,
business.
yes.
So these kinds of candles, for instance, are mostly attractive to churches like ZCC, Zion,
Traditional African
yeah,
spaces.
traditional African spaces. Traditional healers buy these candles, and
Yes.
that alone, for someone who's not even 30 years old, that's a child was born after 1994. That alone should tell you how rife unemployment is. So, to me, I blame the leaders and the system that has never changed. You see, the kinds of jobs they create are not sustainable. The kinds of jobs they create are not, developmental. They are very, very rotational. It's as if the kids are going round and round in circles,
Yes.
even if they get employed. And also, it's very, especially working for government, it's very stagnant. People are there. You find that someone has been there since 1991, and
Yes.
they don't want to shift.
They want to retire.
They want to retire, and the working conditions are very toxic themselves. Young people are exhibiting a lot of mental health issues and mostly mental breakdowns.
Especially young men.
Especially young men, and then you find that now young men are exhibiting a lot of these violent acts, not just to their girlfriends or their wives, but to the very communities they live in. They are violent to
Yes.
themselves, they are violent to their elderly. They are so disorientated in terms of the foundation of a human being. That's
Yes.
when we say that this is where the aggression of the ancestors comes in, because now they are challenged that, look, you got a job and you decided not to appease or to say thank you to us as ancestors. This is what happens. That's partly the situation. So you'd find that even those that have jobs, they are not happy, not because they are not paid well only, but because the working environment is not suitable or conducive to the mental, emotional, and physical health of young Africans, So you'd find that it is no different in the Western Cape. You can't say Western Cape is better than KZN. There's no difference.
Yes.
People are all going through the same pattern of emotional abuse, of psychological abuse, physical abuse. I mean, we speak of unemployment, in a very sophisticated way. When
Yes.
you unpack it and you see the horrors within unemployment, that there are people that you will use politics to assassinate other people. There's so much bloodshed. That's the other thing. People are killing each other for positions. You know, in the Eastern Cape, people leave their jobs in government to be political councillors for the municipality. Once they get that position, they just sit there and engage in tender issues,
To pursue their business
their own
dreams.
business dreams.
Yes.
You find that a person who is, for instance, is a municipal councillor in Butterworth, is a small rural town,
Yes.
but they are residing in East London in a very nice suburb amongst the elites.
The elites, yes.
So every time that person is needed by, let's say, maybe whatever ward they serve in is mostly
Yes.
villages. So when the people need him or her, they have to call him, and then they'll say, "No, I'm attending a conference in Joburg. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time." And then after that 2 weeks, the person will say, "No, my kids are going on an overseas trip. I'm taking my kids." So basically, they take these jobs to actually
personal
for
upliftment.
personal upliftment and
Yes.
forget about the rest.
Yes.
Because President Nelson Mandela said that education is the key, to success and to life. But now, the current politicians are making that statement to be almost an insult to Africans, because kids will ask you, what is the point of going to school if I'm going to come back home with a degree, with an honors degree, with a master's degree, with a PhD, with a postdoctoral thesis? What am I going to do at home when there are no jobs? I'm told that I'm overqualified, and you find that the people that are in the system working for government, you find that some of them didn't even have a degree. They just went in because they were belonging to a particular political party that now had won, the majority of seats in the council or in the province.
Yes,
Or
you would look for your own people as a party.
Yes.
Let's let's look at. I think government has really invested in education in the past a few years, and we can say that the majority of the youth they've got access to tertiary education. Has that really helped, or has it made most students to be able to have the theory part of surviving and not have we really thought about it, or we just invested in education and then we see as we go in terms of how is it gonna uplift the youth?
Look, I mean, I think in this answer I can just put universities aside, because universities, yes, are more theoretical, are more historical, rather than practicality.
Yes.
When you look at the space of FET colleges, for instance, those are skill-driven institutions.
Yes.
They are more, as I said, practical. So there, if a child is interested in electrical engineering or in civil engineering, in farming and so on, those things, microbiology, environmental affairs, those courses are offered in FET colleges on a practical level.
Yes.
So you'd find that small holdings like in commercial farming, in certain business industries, or development zones, you'd find that FET, college graduates will be the first ones, to be considered.
Yes.
Because they don't come with this very thick CV that says, no, I came into UCT of it, did my degree, then I did my honors.
And I went for my internship.
Then I went for my internship. Then I came back to do my master's. Then I got the job in this company in Sentin,
Yes.
and even then that takes quite a number of years. You find that
Yes.
the system of progression in this country is very, very slow.
Yes.
That's why you have ministers who are in their 70s today. That's why you have director generals who are very clueless of the foundational and ground issues that are affecting people.
Yes.
I believe